Okay, with Nick Law, Global Creative Director of RGA, Head of the Digital Jury.
Yep.
Since Cannes, what has been the trends you've been noticing in your jury tours, and especially this one?
I think the thing that started in Cannes and that I saw confirmed in this tour is that for the first time, I think you could say the very best narrative work is in digital, whatever that means. Basically what it means is that if something is well produced, then it's going to end up in every format and every screen. But also that now things are being made specifically for interactive sort of mediums that are just have amazing production values, great writing, great editing.
The sort of thing you reserve for television.
Yeah,
in the old
well, I
days.
mean, just anecdotally, talking to people on the jury, a lot of the people in the jury found out about some of this narrative work, not through the industry, but through friends. So someone in Sweden, for example, said that they found out about the Dumb Ways to Die game, not even the video, which we all love, but the game, because his kids were playing with it.
Yeah, it was number one.
So that's sort of amazing, right? Because it's really hard to do a good game. It's hard to do a story, or to do a narrative piece that's that can get millions of views.
And that's a branded game. People buy.
That's right. Yeah, but it's beautifully done.
Beautiful, right?
And so what's impressive about that particular piece is that generally after the narrative piece is done, all the things that fall out of that are just sort of checking boxes, right? But everything was executed well on this, and so designing a game and writing a script and creating a narrative are very different things, and yet both were done excellently for a government organization. Sort of amazing. Yeah, and then there were other things like the Intel Inside piece. There's the Dove sketches things. All of these things that did well at Cannes and sort of continued on into here. They were all sort of created as narratives. So even the Dove sketches thing, I don't know if anyone really believes the sort of scientific part of it, right? Which is this sort of these women and their exchange with it. It doesn't matter, because what was created in the end was like a tiny little documentary that is sort of believable and beautifully done. Same with the the Coke Small World machines, right?
Yeah.
It's like no one really believes that this is, that
it's going to change the world. Of
yeah,
Pakistan
or
versus
even
India.
that it was like a big
The
thing that
thought
everyone
count,
knew
the
about,
thought,
right?
yeah, it was
No one
all
knew
the
about it,
thought.
but it was conceptually it was sort of very neat, and they cut a video, and that's the thing that got shared. So you have the sort of social object in interactive has now become well-crafted narratives, and they are better crafted now than ever before.
Mm.
Now, on the flip side of that, what started 8 years ago with with something like Nike Plus, or then with EcoDrive, we haven't seen that sustained in the digital world. We haven't seen the promise of using digital and software to change businesses, to create new business models, to get closer to the core of a client's product. We haven't seen that sustain itself. There are a few things like the Swebus thing that came out of Sweden, which is an application where you switch from the trains to the buses, beautifully thought through, solving a huge business problem, enormously successful. That would be something that I'd put in that category. So it's not a narrative piece, it's a systematic piece that really changes the business.
But
There hasn't been as many of that.
Out.
And I would actually say that it's a shame that our industry has sort of surrendered that, because Silicon Valley is doing it, and we should be doing it too. And the reason we should be doing it is because if we don't, then we're just going to become little narrative boutiques, and we're going to become a smaller part of a larger income pie. The complete pie being the thing that both the CMO and the CEOs are going to be concerned about. So if you're only doing that one spoke, and if you're only like the greatest little storytelling company on earth, then you won't be able to lead a brand. You better tell stories about brands. But that the future of our industry is getting closer, not just to CMO but to the CEO, and you can't do that only with narrative.
Yes, yeah. What was your sort of favourite pieces of work this year, apart from the ones you just mentioned, but
I think there was...
without giving away Grand Prix?
Yeah, no, there was a lot of interesting stuff, and there was even stuff that didn't medal that was really... In fact, I would say that this is one of the most consistent bodies of work that I've been on a jury. Generally, the first round of any of these juries is bloody painful.
Mm.
It makes you walk out the
rubbish.
first day thinking, what industry do I belong to?
Yeah.
What a load of crap. That didn't happen this time.
Yeah, it was all good quality.
I mean, I think we voted through about a quarter of all the submissions, which is actually pretty good.
Mm.
From the first round where it's either in or out. So I thought the quality of work was great. And, there's some a few nice pieces coming out of Singapore. There was some always good stuff coming out of Sweden. And Nike has its, work sprinkled through by agencies all over the world. The work from Australia is strong, very strong, creatively very strong. There wasn't like really big pieces. There's a lot of really smart, sort of medium-sized pieces, which in a way is good because at a time when our clients are struggling to get budgets, you can be effective if you sort of control, the size of these projects. The days of trying to connect everything and do everything for a campaign is sort of over, I think.
Was it? Is it very similar to the integrated category? Is it sort of you're seeing the same work in every bloody?
Well, this is the other trend. The other trend I should have noticed is that I sat with Mark Tutzel.
And you can see say the same thing.
And he showed me his list, my list, the same thing.
Same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it's because you can't make a piece of work now.
It doesn't have a digital component.
Yeah, and even if you had no intention, or even if it wasn't specifically designed to be digital, if it's any good,
it's going to
end up in social networks. It's going to end up living there.
Well, Dumbways dies in radio, and
yeah, exactly.
He started in radio.
But most people viewed it on YouTube.
Of course,
right?
Nothing to do with the radio.
It's like you go right back to that Wyden piece for Write the Future. The World Cup piece. That thing was watched by millions and millions online.
Mm.
There was broadcast piece. I don't even remember seeing it in broadcast.
It was a 3-minute. It was a hit, and it played once or twice during the World Cup.
Yeah, maybe.
But they couldn't probably afford to do that. But with YouTube, again.
Yeah. So I guess that's the original point I was making is that we sort of know it's going to end up in that world, and the measure of if you've done anything good, whether it's a TV spot or even a print ad, I'd argue, is it's going to get shared online. That's a measure.
But you were saying in your little talk that products that weren't even in other countries they were there, but they weren't promoted in any way locally. Were being, the sales are going up because they've seen the old Spice ad or something. Where it might not have been here, but literally the sales are going up based on what they've seen in the online world. In the country where there's no local promotion for that at all.
Yeah, because
they've just seen
this is the power of sort of democratized media. It's also the thing that I think for our industry is a bit of an existential question, because the idea that you could be so effective, so efficiently, and without buying media, right? Which is like it's the cry of every case study. Without any bought media, there's a whole industry here.
Yeah.
That's around buying media. That should be sort of questioning, its own model. There's always going to be bought media. There's always going to be, but there's going to be more and more owned media, so brands are going to own media. But the ultimate measure of success is earned media, because if you can't make something that people want to share, you probably haven't made something that's very good.
Totally. It's all about the idea is still what you're watching or what you're seeing is still
object,
important.
Right? And it's
they're not going to share something that's boring or dull
exactly.
or crap.
Yeah.
So nothing's changed in advertising in some ways.
Yeah. The mechanic, everything has changed. And
everything but nothing.
And yet nothing.
Yeah. As Tutzel said, look, there's still a central idea.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
How's the new Nike Field Bands going? You got the new version there.
Well, this is I think the next.
That's available to non-creative directors.
I don't know if it's available in Australia or not.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't seen one yet. So.
I mean, they have.
I've got the other one, but
they've been selling out.
Good.
And there's a new version coming up, which has it's basically new software.
Yeah, all sequence
very soon.
Yeah. And you
but-
might do a watch or something, I'm sure. Or
Well, I
some
mean,
other
and Nike has a bunch of connected devices that
Yes.
that are all they're all sort of tied together by fuel, which is a
Yes.
sort of currency.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the strength of that.
Yeah. Well, great. Well,
Yeah.
enjoy the rest of the trip.
Thanks, mate. Good to see you.
See you soon.
Cheers.